Okay, I'm Alessandra, and this is my final interview for Youth Deviance Crime. Okay, please state your name for the record.
Molly Malinowski.
Okay, so Molly, what grade are you in?
I'm a junior.
What are your majors?
I'm a human development and elementary education major.
So what do you want to do with that when you graduate?
So I'm hoping to get into graduate school right after undergrad. I'm hoping to either get the fellowship at Merrimack or go to another institution to complete my master in 1 year. And then if that works out, then hopefully I will get a job working in an elementary school.
So what was the best moment of your life?
The best moment of my life, well, I guess most recently the best moment was being able to be awarded the LEAD Award for student leaders, because that really showed me that I have what it takes to be a student leader. It reaffirmed everything that I've been doing on this campus, and it also allowed me to really just have more faith in myself and confidence that I am a good leader.
Great. So, have you ever been arrested?
No, I have not.
No? All right. Since you've never been arrested, do you still believe in juvenile rehabilitation? Do you think that's a thing?
So I think that with the information that I received through my human development major, children's minds, juveniles' minds are still working. They're learning. Their prefrontal cortex is not fully developed yet. So I think that, making sure that the child understands that they have consequences for their actions, but making sure that, we're not putting them through any horrible situations is important, because they are still learning and growing. They don't have the ability to necessarily make all of the right decisions on impulse control. So I think that definitely giving them the opportunity to, rehabilitate, get themselves into a good living situation, they'll be able to grow and become a better person.
Right. So, since you believe in that, do you want kids when you're older?
I definitely want kids.
How many kids do you want?
I'm thinking maybe 3 or 4.
3 or 4. That's a lot of kids.
It is a lot of kids. Really like kids.
So, do you have any hobbies?
So I love hiking. I love swimming. I was on a swim team for like 10 years, so I still really love swimming. Just hanging out with my friends, reading, binge watching TV shows like Grey's Anatomy. But yeah, those are mostly my hobbies.
Do you have a favorite character on Grey's Anatomy?
There's a lot to choose from, but honestly, McDreamy is the way to go.
Yeah, he's gonna be gone soon.
Don't remind me.
What's your favorite food?
That's hard. I would have to say my favorite food, ever since I was a little kid, was chicken parm and pasta. That was my go-to food.
So you said you like nature. Do you have any pets?
Yeah, so I have 2 dogs. One is a golden retriever lab mix, and her name is Biscuit. She's quite a fireball. She's very, very active. And then Java, who is a chocolate lab, and he's definitely more docile.
How old are they?
I think Java's about 6 and Biscuit 5.
Oh, so they're relatively young.
Yeah, relatively young.
So, what's your dream job?
My dream job would be, well, of course, I want to be an elementary school teacher. That's something I've always wanted to be. Ever since I was a little kid, I knew that. But I also just love psychology, and I would love to do something with psychology in some sort of way with kids. I find learning about different behavioral issues and how that affects the brain. So I would love to do something in that capacity. I've also always wanted to be a wedding planner. So there are a lot of different things that I would love to be able to do with my life, and hopefully I'll get there at some point to do a little bit of everything.
So when did you start planning your wedding?
Probably when I was about 8, when I started to fall in love with weddings.
Do you have it all planned out by now?
All planned out. A few different kinds of weddings. So that different destination weddings, and so that way my husband is ready to choose which wedding he wants. But they're all set up for him, so it's he doesn't get much say, but.
So do you have an idea of what kind of wedding dress you want?
Oh, well, it kind of depends on the wedding. So the wedding dress, it depends on, where it is. If I'm going for more of the barn wedding, the rustic outdoors barn wedding, that's going to be a little bit of a different dress.
Than like a nice formal.
Than a formal, in Italy, in a vineyard dress, yes.
Wow, you really have it planned out.
Oh, it's all mapped out.
Wow. All right, so what's your favorite type of music?
I pretty much like everything. I like some rap and some hip hop. I like some pop, love country. I'm also into New Orleans jazz. Ever since I visited New Orleans, it's become one of my favorite places, and it's just a whole different genre of music that I just adore now.
When did you visit?
I think it was my freshman year, so about 3 years ago in December. And it's been the best place that I've ever been within the United States. It's amazing. It's a whole different world.
Okay. So if you won the lottery, what would you do with it and why?
I think the first thing I would do with it would be to pay off my student loans. Those definitely have to have to go away. And then, based on whether or not I have a house at that point, I would probably buy myself a house. And then I would want to take my family on a trip, go somewhere where, we haven't been before, probably abroad. So Italy, maybe Greece, maybe Cuba would be really fun. I've always had an interest in travel, so anywhere we could get tickets, airplane tickets to go to, I would be totally fine with. I think that's probably what I would use the lottery for.
Would you travel inside the United States also, or no?
I've always had an interest in traveling within the U.S., and different national conferences have allowed me to travel a little bit, and I think that it is so valuable to be traveling within the U.S. and get to know as many states as possible. But I think if I won the lottery, I would probably choose to spend that going abroad just because it's so expensive to go abroad, and I think that being able to travel the whole world is really important. But I don't think that I would necessarily spend the money on the U.S. just because I'm sure that I could find a way to make that work to be able to travel within the U.S.
Do you want to see the biggest ball of twine?
In Minnesota? Yes. Definitely.
World's biggest spatula?
Where is that?
I'm not really sure. It's a movie.
Oh, okay. Well, didn't know that was a thing, but maybe I'll go now.
Alright, so since you want to be an elementary school teacher and also want to have kids, how will you implement what you learn with them?
So I think that one of the biggest things that I've seen as a generalization with school teachers is sometimes the role of being a teacher and being a parent is a little bit harder to define. So I think that I would just hope that I would keep in mind that there is a huge difference between being a teacher and being a parent. I think that it's great that I would have both of those opportunities because, as a teacher, you know all about the educational system. You know all about what students are going through, and you know how hard teachers work. But, also as a teacher, you don't necessarily know how to be a parent. So I think being able to try and find that balance, because the way you treat a student is not going to be the same way that you treat a child in your life. But I think being able to utilize all of the theories that I've learned about and working with little kids and encouraging their learning, I think is great to be able to have that background as a parent.
So if you found yourself in the situation where you were actually teaching your own child, what would you do?
So I would not ever homeschool my kids. I think that it's really, really important for them to be building relationships and having that social piece. I think that, it's tough if you're a teacher and a parent because if you see what's going on in that child's schoolroom and you're not too happy with it, you become a little defensive. But I think, I would hope that I would be able to try and find that balance between teaching and also just being a parent.
So you said you won the LEAD Award. What are you involved in on campus?
So there's a lot. I'm heavily involved in the honors program, so I'm an honors program student. But I'm also the co-chair of the Honor Student Council. So we have our own council. We have a chair and co-chair who kind of run the council, organize all the committees, make sure they're putting on some great events. We do programming within the honors program. And then I'm also part of the peer mentoring team. So we have a peer mentoring program that guides first years and transfers into the program on, giving them information about the honors program, being there as a resource and as a guide through college, which can be, tough at different points. So I was an honors peer mentor for 3 years, and now I've taken the responsibility of being the assistant director of the peer mentoring program. So I'm really involved in that, and I've forged some great friendships through being involved in the honors program. I've also been the academic and program development officer on the Honors Student Council prior to taking this position as a co-chair. So that really allowed me to grow, become more involved in the academic aspect, the administrative level. I started to reach out to people like the president and the provost and the academic deans. So I've really had the opportunity to create some of those professional relationships that will really serve me well going forward in my career. So aside from, all the honors program stuff, I am also an orientation leader. So I've done that. This will be my second year. This coming June will be my second year doing that, and that has honestly really helped me grow. I was painfully shy as a freshman, was really, really unsure of myself, and I think that orientation gave me the ability to show that I had what it takes to be a leader, to deal with a group of students who are unsure of themselves, to really take on that initiative. And so I think orientation was part of that. I think the honors program was part of that. So there's been a lot of personal growth. I am also an FYE mentor, so I'm paired with an instructor, and we put on the first year experience class for those incoming freshmen, so that they can learn about Merrimack's campus, all that it has to offer. So again, that's been another way that I've been able to grow and develop my personal leadership skills. I'm also a writing consultant in the Writing Center, so I have different hours that people can drop in, but I've also been paired with a class. So I'm a writing fellow as well, which means that I'm paired with a faculty member in a class, and I'm the one who meets with all of the students before their papers are due to go over each of their papers. So, the weeks where I have to meet with each of the students, those are pretty long, because that means about 9 hours of my week are spent in the Writing Center, just as the regular writing fellow, plus my hours in the center. So it can be a lot, but it's also something I'm really, really passionate about, and again has really encouraged my communication skills and leadership skills as well.
Do you have a favorite thing you're involved in campus, or no?
I can't say that there's a favorite, just because I think that there's so many different things that go on with each of the activities. So orientation is all about being loud and excited and forging those friendships and creating a home within that group, because you lean on each other. The Writing Center is great because it encourages my growth and development, and also helps other students, which I love. The honors program is a family, it's a community. So I think, again, it brings different aspects to each of them. So I think that I can't say that there's one favorite.
All right. So if you were talking to a freshman, would you tell them to get as involved as possible?
Yes, absolutely. So my first semester, freshman year, I really wasn't involved in anything but education club. I didn't really do too much because it was a hard transition for me. And then second semester, freshman year, I started to take on more responsibilities. But then my sophomore year, I just exploded, and I got involved in so many different things, and honestly don't think that I would be as happy as I am at Merrimack if I didn't do all of those things. I think that it's really done a lot for my own growth, but also just in general getting me involved and excited, and Looking forward to getting up in the morning, even if it's super early, to try and get all of my work done on top of everything else. I think that it really, truly makes your college experience to be involved.
So you don't mind that you're busy all the time?
No. It's one of those things where people can sit there and say, why are you so busy? Doesn't really make sense. Why would you do that to yourself? But at the end of the day, it's been those relationships that I've made. It's part of being a person in college. It's, being as involved and as busy as possible, because you've only got 4 years and you got to make the most of it.
I agree. What was the most difficult period of your life, and how did you deal with that?
So I think probably the most difficult was my senior year of high school. So I went to a small all-girls school for 3 years. And then my senior year, it actually merged with a co-ed school. So we had, I think, like 90 students in our senior class, which was crazy because we had only had 50 in the all-girls school. But it was just a really tough time because it was a completely different new school. And I was so used to having my friends and the relationships I had made with the faculty members there. And I just don't think it was that great of a transition. I was pretty upset most of my senior year. And I think the way I dealt with it was just trying to get through it and, making the most out of the situation. So my friends and I would try and hang out all the time. We had, like inside jokes, and we tried to bring those out as much as possible. And we tried to just be there for each other because none of us were, expecting that to happen. And we were all pretty upset by it, but I think we, made the most of it, encouraged each other, which was really, really important when you're going through something like that. And we started to get excited about college.
Did any of those friends come with you to this college?
So none of them came with me, but I have 4 best friends at home, and we still talk and text and hang out during every break. We're kind of spread out. I have one friend that goes to Boston College. I have another at Providence College. And then I've got another one in RPI, Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute, and in New York. And then I have someone in South Bend, Indiana. So we're really spread out, but we always come back together during breaks and everything. And it's so good to be able to have that core group of girls.
So how do you want to improve yourself in the next year?
I think that I want to be able to take every moment as it comes. I think that, as we were talking about with being busy, it's sometimes hard because you get caught up in everything that's going on around you. And I think that for me, I want to be able to take every moment as it comes. I don't want to feel rushed. I just want to enjoy the next year. And I think, definitely being involved as much as I am, and obviously I want to do well in school. That's always been something that's really important to me, but definitely I think taking every moment as it comes.
Do you have any hopes for the senior year? Do you have any goals?
I think, so I'll be doing my student teaching second semester, and so obviously I definitely want to make sure that I'm, good at what my career choice is. So I think, having high expectations of myself going into that is going to be really, really important. I want to challenge myself as much as possible and take on as much as possible in terms of student teaching, because in the end, that's my career. So I want to be as prepared as possible. And I think the other hope is just to, really revel in this last year. It's not going to be easy for me at all to realize that, this is it. I'm not ready to say the S word. I'm not ready to say that I'm a senior because Merrimack has just done so much for me, and I've made some incredible friendships, and I'm not ready to move on from that. So I think just really being excited and taking everything in as my last year comes to fruition.
All right, well, thank you very much for letting me interview you.
Thank